God damn it, Anthony. Greetings, viewers. I am Night and I thought I could break away from petty Brony drama for once. To give context, the head mod of the Rift Cafe, The Second Opinion, responded to How Not to Brony 32 from FNGR. Why? Because FNGR once again bashed the Rift Cafe, which he hates with a burning passion. You might tell me, well, this just sounds like something that only concerns those two. Why are you responding? Because I was a member of the Rift Cafe, and I know exactly why it's so disliked as it's become. And that's what I'm hoping to get through the Second Opinion in this video.
Okay, so today we have to talk about the old drama between the Rift and the Secret Rift that I thought was done and over with, but hopefully will be once we get these bits swept up. If you don't know the story, it's available on the Rift Wiki. In short, a little over a year ago, the long-standing Rift moderators started having issues with each other, so some of them started planning to secretly form their own group together. Then one of the mods they were mad at found out, conflict exploded, and us newer mods were left surprised and holding the bags, as every single one of them became altogether sick of this, and said to hell with being a mod. But at least that meant that everyone directly involved in the conflict was gone, so yeah, that pretty much resolved itself. The mods had been trying to form their own group did so, and everyone was happy. Well, maybe not happy, since the new group was sometimes presented and taken as a challenge, or a part 2 of the conflict, but then we all remembered that, oh yeah, there were already other groups calling themselves the Rift, and it's not like anyone was saying you can only join one, so that pretty much died off. 1 year and 2 months later, we've all mostly just focused on making our own groups nice and let it be. Except, of course, for this guy, FNGR, one of the mods of the new group. Even for a guy who already talks trash on people as part of his shtick, he has really been reluctant to let this go. To me, it always came across as a status thing to stop people from thinking he's any less of a big shot or that he's not in the quote-unquote main Rift. Seriously, a year later and he's still getting mad at people in our channel's comment section for saying our group is the real Rift. So I've been perfectly happy to not waste a single second on it.
If you really thought the drama was over and done with, why are you talking about it now? And why respond to FNGR specifically? Why didn't you come forth and correct Lily Pete when she was talking about the rifting community? And generalizing all of you as assholes who just want attention.
Oh, Lily later said she meant the Secret Rift.
So what you're saying is...
Not my rift, not my problem.
The busted down hoopty rift that everyone in the community left to die for brighter pastures. Whether it's the company of Golden Fox, Keyframe, Wubcake, Kichi FIM, British Ninja, Bree Lizzie T, Tricky Fox, Grey Silvermane, Secret Dreamer, Finn the Pony, Tyandiga, A&Y, Spirit Productions, Lightning Bliss, etc., etc., etc.
At 77 and counting, the Rift currently has more members than it did right before this started, when it was hovering around 71. And Grey Silvermane, Secret Dreamer, Keyframe, Finn the Pony, Tyandaga, A&Y, and many, many others are still in both groups. Plus, the ones he lists who aren't are mostly outsubscribed by our most popular members who aren't. Looney Turtle has more subscribers than all of them, Lizard Wizard has more than all except Lightning Bliss and Wubcake, etc., etc., etc. Not that it matters anyway, you don't join a fandom group to stare in awe at each other.
The phrase quality over quantity exists for a reason. It doesn't matter how many more members the cafe has in comparison to the Secret Rift. If they're difficult to get along with, and many people in the Secret Rift do consider members of the cafe difficult to get along with, and their content ranges from middle of the road to completely abysmal, then can you really blame why so many people wanted to split off from the cafe in the first place? Also, I was grandfathered into the Secret Rift because I agreed that the way the Rift Cafe was run was completely abysmal. It would frequently devolve into drama and infighting on a weekly to monthly level. Skipping the next part because he talks about the number of videos the cafe has in comparison to the Secret Rift, and I don't want to repeat what I just said.
But hey, maybe they have a bunch of jaw-droppingly good projects lined up that they just need to take their time on. Maybe they're about to take the world by storm and become the single biggest thing on all of YouTube. And in that case, we'll keep doing exactly what we're doing because that doesn't affect us whatsoever.
If that were true, you wouldn't have felt so defensive and inclined to respond to the criticisms they have against your chat and its channel.
Seriously, what is there to fight about here? Who makes the better free content? Which group you should try to join when many people are already happily in both?
Except people weren't happy in the cafe. Many of the members were growing frustrated with attention seekers causing drama, and Fallen being away for weeks to months on end and refusing to let her staff handle things when she came back. Also, just because the same people are in both chats, it doesn't mean they're pleased with how it's run.
Why am I even being pressed to talk about this? None of these people, nor anyone else who was around for the original conflict, is still on this, publicly at least. This guy is the only one I still hear trying to stir up crap over it. If you like the people in your group, then great. Enjoy yourself. We'll keep doing the same. So yeah, I would have been glad to avoid talking about this for the rest of my life. I have better things to think about that actually matter and aren't totally miserable.
So why didn't you? Who specifically was pressing you to respond? Admit it or don't, you responded because you got defensive that your chat was being criticized with how it's run.
I did get to take part in a project on the Rift channel, but that can be done by potentially any Brony who proves to be a capable, agreeable contributor.
If you ever spoke with Keyblade, you'd know he's far from an agreeable person. He would frequently get into fights with people in chat. In fact, it was because he refused to stop arguing with me that Golden Fox finally threw him out. You can ask Goldie, Brony, or the Burning Donut if that's true, by the way. Keyblade is such an unlikable person that it's gotten to the point that his own fandom sister sees an awaken is distancing herself from him, and even Fallen Wish has expressed her growing disdain for the guy.
So after wondering what his basis for even saying this could be, it occurred to me that he might be trying to pass off people in the Rift Cafe Discord chat.
You mean the Discord chat Vita, Sheldon, Faith, Meliminus, and Corpionate Brony were able to get into? Granted, I did see in the comments of Found Out the Brony 33 that you tossed them out of the chat, but the fact that they were in there in the first place was enough for Fallen to come into one of her multiple chats and bitch about how stupid it was to let them in there in the first place. It truly did make me question how competent you and Mooney truly are.
Under the current mod team, there have not been any incidents like that in the Rift, and when issues do start up between people, they are resolved. We keep our eyes peeled for potential problems like that.
Too bad Crimson left out frustration because she felt like she was the only one doing any work in there. And I'm ending it here since he just goes on to misunderstand why the Rift Cafe has such a bad reputation now. So, I feel you completely misunderstand why the Rift Cafe is looked down upon as much as it is. Months of infighting and drama, no indication that people were willing to change their behavior when asked or even told to. Members of the chat who ranged from unlikable to downright toxic, and possibly the final nail in the coffin, Fallen repeating the same behavior as previous admins of the chat she said she'd avoid. You could have gone to anyone you were still cool with at the time after the split, but instead you choose to do this vlog-style video a year later. For no other reason I can think of than you want them to stop criticizing the Rift Cafe. You say in this video you don't care about the drama, but the video in itself contradicts that claim, since you clearly do care. Otherwise you wouldn't have made this video in the first place. Of course, we can also assume it was just to silence any criticism against the Rift Cafe. You also treat this like it's a status thing, when in reality it goes beyond that. It doesn't matter that the Rift Cafe has been around longer than the Secret Rift. If multiple people could agree that the chat had serious problems, that should have said something to you. The Rift Cafe has had problems long before the Secret Rift was a thing, and rather than acknowledge and try to improve them, you just seem to want people to stop talking about them, and hope all this criticism goes away. I didn't make this video to attack you, but to properly explain why the Rift Cafe is as disliked as it's become. With all that said, this is Night Eye saying thanks for letting me share my thoughts. Please share your thoughts with me.